Hey everybody, welcome to this part two of our latest ELECTROFANS Connect meetup.
Hello.
Yeah, our topic today is label versus self-release for electronic music producers. We have here back again for part two. We have Felix Minite from Hong Kong, and we have the artist formerly known as Katie7, now known as Ember Bloom, a
Oh,
dynamic.
it still says K7 here.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta
Uh,
change that.
yeah, you got to update all the stuff, right? So she's now known as Ember Bloom, formerly known as Katie7, dynamic, uh, deep-oriented melodic producer from Tokyo. So we're looking forward to getting her take on
Oh,
indie
now it's
versus.
changed.
Oh, there you go. Now it's official. Ah,
Yeah.
during the
Well,
Elect
I
Fans
haven't been
meetup.
using Zoom, so
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so I figured we could kind of start off with a little bit of intro. So, Katie Ember Bloom, can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to musically?
well, lately I've been just making music a lot. I just released an album that was a self-release.
Hmm.
That's
Perfect
what
for
I've
our
been up
talk.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
I guess this session is just you, and I guess uh
Felix. Yeah.
Felix is listening mostly.
Yeah. You saw his chat too. Yeah. And he was on earlier. And yeah, sorry if, yeah, actually, I think the majority, we've done maybe four or five of these, and mainly we've done them only at one time. A couple times we did them at a staggered thing where we have like a second. Because the thing with time-wise is like, yeah, it's like, so I'm in San Francisco, and I know you guys are in Tokyo, right? Tokyo, Katie, and Hong Kong, Felix. So yeah, it's like, I think Asia prime time is maybe like 4 or 5 a.m., 4 a.m. here. So it's tough to kind of, I know. And then so North American prime time. So if someone's in Toronto or New York City, so 1 p.m. is like a lot of people have regular jobs. So they're in the East or Western US, they're at their job. But then, I mean, for example, like this time right now is 7 p.m. Pacific, so it's 10 p.m. Eastern. I think I had somebody tell me, well, 10 p.m. is too late for me. I'm like, well, okay, there's never gonna be
Yeah,
any
that's
perfect
difficult.
time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's like, yeah, I figured,
Yeah, I think if Earth was flat, I think you'll solve the problem,
there we go.
It's
But
unfortunately round.
yeah, but for now, we like circles here. As you see, I got to get the pointing straight. Which way? Up
Which way?
the circle, yeah, for pointing for the screen. Some people, the people, that are so used to YouTube, I feel like a dork. They're so used to, they point right there. They know where the thing is on the camera. I just created this new background recently,
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
but
I
circles,
just
yeah.
did this one, my background just
Yeah,
now.
that's cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I have like I guess just so you know, I don't know if you've met Felix, Katie too. So Felix, if you're on, if you can maybe basically for Katie, because I know you well, like kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. If you're on, I don't know if maybe you're tuned out or something. Yeah, I guess everyone that's gonna be listening, I guess Felix. So Felix was on our first call. We'll put both these up on YouTube. Katie, I'm definitely looking forward to, yeah, most definitely getting your take because that's on this topic because that's what I figured. I mean, I think you have some, yeah, I'm pretty sure you have some experience with different labels too, and we can kind of get that too to kind of like counterbalance. But I know I checked out some of your Bandcamp and that was really cool. And we talked about Bandcamp in our first session earlier today too. Yeah, so it's gonna be great to get your take. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen right here too. I have like PowerPoint thing. And yeah, we started off with, what are the options for, I thought it'd be good to start from the basics. What are the options if you're a music producer releasing tracks? And I figured there are basically like four. So it's either label, self-release, again, which can include Bandcamp or just even offering your music for free downloads, mix of label and self-release or create your own label. And a lot of the people in our earlier call too, yeah, they had experience creating their own label. And Felix, I know he has his own couple different labels, Summer Melody and New House. Katie, did you ever do your own label? I was kind of curious, actually.
My
Katie,
own label, did you
yeah,
say?
yeah. Have you like created your own label sort of in the past or no, not yet?
Well, not really a label. My self-release has been just under my name on the Bandcamp, so
Hmm.
not really a label. However, I think couple of songs that I released from that label um, on the Beatport, I think it might be under a label. And I think if you check on Spotify and see who released the song, it should be under a label. So I'm not really running a label, but I'm kind of prepared to do so if I wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, as Ember Bloom, you mean, right?
No, it has a label name, but it's not like I'm publicly doing it. Like it's under a label name, but it's kind of unofficial.
Oh, I think I understand. Yeah, could I ask what you picked for the name?
Sorry, I was reading the Felix chat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, could I ask what you decided to pick for the name, the label name?
It's um it's in the sky.
Oh, okay. So that's just kind of a name that you picked in case that one of the outlets required you to have a label then, is that it?
Well, okay, when you do a self-release for streaming service,
Hmm.
it's sometime this is only for the Beatport, but under Beatport, for example, if you use SoundCloud for self-release, it's gonna be under, I think it's called Repost. That's their service name, and if you go to Beatport, it's gonna be released under Repost.
Hmm.
So I don't like that, you know. Like,
Oh, sorry. So you're saying that if you just do your own self indie release and you don't have a label, then you get puts reposts and so you wanted to pick some name rather than some
yeah,
just
for yeah,
generic. Oh,
for
okay.
example,
Huh, I
like
didn't know
if
that.
you release under DistroKid, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
released like under DistroKid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah. I noticed that within the last I'm not sure how long, with the last few to several months. Yeah, like on SoundCloud. Yeah, like for example, there was a woman DJ from the Netherlands where she did a really cool DJ mix for us, and yeah, the artist name Cynthia Laclay was her name, but I was expecting to see Cynthia Laclay, but it said something like some other. It must have been the distribution company name. Yeah, some Dutch name. I was like, what is that? Okay, I got you. Okay, sure, I can see
yeah.
why you'd want to do that then. Yeah.
So I wanted to like it just doesn't look professional, you know?
Sure, sure.
So I wanted to
Okay.
use a distributor that lets me set up my own label name. So I'm not using DistroKid, for example, because they won't let me do that.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about that too, and that's coming up ahead there too. Yeah. Um, so as far as releasing with a label, yeah, these are the things we asked folks in the earlier panel. I think you've got at least you've done some releases on I think some European labels, was it in the past, or some labels I think you have. German, was
I
it?
did the release from British label
Okay.
and Greek, Greek label, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, as far as like maybe thinking back to that, or if you were to try to go with another label again, what do you think might be some things that producers should look for or look out for in a prospective label?
Okay, say that again, please.
Yeah. So, if I guess if you were giving advice to, say, a producer that was thinking, oh, maybe I should look for a label, what do you think would be some things that would be appealing? And I think tied to that too is like how much does size matter? Like we discussed earlier that, maybe in some real good cases, going with a smaller or maybe not always a tiny label, but like a mid-sized label could be more actually a better thing than the bigger ones because maybe they don't care about you as much and they just want to focus on volume and they kind of just cover that spend more of their time and resources on the big name artists. That's what some of our panelists earlier said. Yeah. So if you were going, say if you had maybe not an Embyrblume release, but say that you wanted to do like a dance or a techno track again, or advice to someone else, what are some of the things that you would look for that would make you want to sign with a label?
Okay,
Or from your past experience too, that there were positive things about it.
I think I think there's like few possible cases. Um, if you are just beginning, releasing from like any label would be good because
Hmm.
you're just kind of learning how to
Yeah.
connect with the release. I mean, connect with the label to make a release. I remember like first time signing for the label, and I was like pretty excited about just actually having a sign, like
Hmm.
with the label. And I think I did a special post about it, you know.
Hmm.
And but after many releases, depending on where you're heading, I think um, if you're, for example, doing melodic techno, and if you sign with like big label known for the melodic techno, I think it could be a boost for your career.
Hmm.
And even if they don't treat you like, you're a big artist, they don't have time for you. That's probably true, but still you get to put that in your resume, like, oh, I've released from this label. That's a big
Yeah.
thing, like it's a good big credibility. So,
Yeah.
and also I think it's something I might be working sometime soon, I hope, is a medium-sized label where you actually can work with the label. Like the label boss might want to kind of guide you, like sort of like label boss is like A&R at the same time,
Hmm.
like uh developing the artist by signing him or her up, and have a close relationship with that label might be a really, really good place for an artist to grow, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, these are some of the similar points that we covered in the earlier session too. Yeah, that really, relationship building can be more important than money too, or maybe sometimes going with that bigger label. Yeah. What do you think would be the most important things you'd want to have clear before you sign with a label? Like, for example, expectations on promotion, like the budget, the artwork, because we covered that too. And one of our main panelists from the earlier session, JP Lancheri, that's kind of why I created this meetup too, because he mentioned before, like he had signed with some, without mentioning any names, like maybe fairly big na name labels, and he said that he thought they did very little to maybe even nothing in terms of, promotion for him. And Jeff Martin, who was on the call earlier too, said that he'd rather that a label go ahead and take his royalties if they agreed to a certain amount that they would spend on the promotion. So yeah, any thoughts on that?
I totally agree that labels don't do much for you. In terms of promotion, a lot of people who are in a label, they are producer themselves, and I think they're more focused on growing their label than like um, guiding an artist or um, promoting that artist.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think,
I
sorry, yeah, go ahead.
oh, um I felt that and I understood that too, and but still I've been doing it because it's a credibility thing, like
Hmm.
it's easy to self-release, but if you are self-releasing, I think um somebody's gotta be like from the third person view, critically looking at your work, I think that's important for an artist to grow. And uh, having somebody say, yeah, okay, let's release this is a kind of a milestone for an artist.
Sure.
And so that's why I've been doing that. And even though they didn't do much, still it's on my resume, and I'm just waiting for um, for a label to actually believe in me so we can work together. That's the kind of relationship I'm looking for with a label, and I maybe found someone lately, and looking forward to work with him.
Awesome. Yeah. Look forward to
Yeah.
seeing that. Yeah. Yeah. Those are some of the exact points that we brought up earlier too. And then, one person on the call earlier mentioned how, like, if he couldn't find, a good fit for his, a particular track with a label, then maybe he'd go ahead and do a self-release. And then Felix from, My Night said that, maybe, well, you just have to shop around and find it's a matter of the match. Yeah. I feel like all that, any relationship can be just like kind of like also like dating, it's like it's professional relationship as well as personal, it's really whatever clicks, both parties if they have certain things in common, interests and values. And you know, my brother actually said one time people move forward together or you know, you go apart. So it's I like that. Yeah, but it could be that was one of the key topics that came up in the first session. Yeah, was the power, and certainly I agree with that too, the value of relationships. Yeah, and also growing together too. Yeah, you learn together. And that was a great point too, Katie, about if you're just starting off, maybe you don't need to be so picky about a label. Just you want to maybe like if you're like a young kid, like 18, 20-year-old kid, just getting your first professional job. Okay, maybe you want the perfect job, but maybe you just want to get something on the resume. Yeah. Um, so what do you think might be some of the pros of working with a label, in your opinion, and the cons?
Pros for what?
The pros, yeah, like the advantages of going with a label.
Well, it's the credibility, I think, as I
Yeah, yeah,
said,
you mentioned, yeah.
and I think it's also boost for your artistic journey because you're not just making songs by yourself and releasing it. You can just finish. that cycle all by yourself. But releasing a song from a label means somebody critically look at your work and
Hmm.
say, let's release this. That's a
Mm.
milestone, like you do that many times to grow, I think.
That's an awesome point. Yeah, that's true. It's different, like just doing your bedroom producer when someone, that's a super great point. Yeah. Because on your own, yeah, you can have your own, release it whenever the hell you want it, right? If you want to take 2 months, 3 months, 3 years, but a label release schedules, they have their own. You have to, it's kind of like when I do these meetups, I can try to accommodate different things, but I can't, like I mentioned earlier, I can't accommodate every single time zone in the world. So you have to pick one, maybe two set things. And then if you want to join, you have to jump into when the company is doing their event, or in this case for ELECTROFANS Connect, or if you're a label, you have to accommodate that. And also the critical, yeah, it's like, and if they say also, well, I think this track is like 2 or 3 minutes too long. Can we trim that? Maybe create the radio edit. Phil Barker, feature Phil earlier, brought up what I think is one of the most powerful points for anyone in the music and creative field to keep in mind is to not take things personally, right? And to me, I think one of the things with success is the pro versus the amateur is just really, yeah, being able to take that constructive criticism. And you don't have to be like a capitalistic corporate sellout, but you have to kind of look at your work in terms of like a market kind of thing. I think if artists want to make money, you have to you have to change your viewpoint. I kind of feel like, yeah. But yeah, so what are the cons, the negative things of working with a label, do you think?
Okay, for one thing, I think especially artists just starting out,
Hmm.
they I think they try to take advantage of you.
Oh,
For
some labels.
example, some of the labels that I worked with in the past, in the beginning of my career, they were like, "Hey, why don't you do a remix for us?" And they were like, like do it for free, basically.
Hmm.
You do it, right? Kind of thing, which I decline, but because they want to they want somebody to conveniently produce um amount of track so that the labels grow, like
Okay.
you
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like they want to
Mm.
release, for example, I don't know, compilation of an album by many artists or something. And to do that, enough artists have to sign on, right?
Hmm. Okay.
So they care about their label, obviously. They don't care about each individual artist, what they want. So that's one thing. The other, as I guess you mentioned from the prior meetings, um, they might not just do promotion at all. They just release and do one social post, and that's done. Like
Okay.
no promotions at all. Like I've seen many of that.
Yeah. So if an artist is looking to try to piggyback on like a big name, like, because a lot of times, of course, it always depends, but some labels have probably, well, it depends. Some artists have many thousand followers too, but like a lot of artists have like maybe, say if you were an artist looking for a label and say a label had like 4 or 5 thousand followers and you had like 1,000 or two, then you would hope that they would offer that and just do that. But I guess a lot of times they don't do that, huh? Make posts on their through their network.
Yeah,
So you
that
can't
that
take
too.
advantage of
I
that
think
then, yeah.
I think if you have a lot of followers and have a good social presence, they want to work with that, basically.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I think it's much less attractive for them to promote you.
Hmm.
basically they work more with more promotable personality, and they might do some promotion for that, but not for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, that's understandable. If they have many artists, they want to work with the one that might work. That's pretty understandable. But you might not be the person, that they choose to promote. So that's the con. I think if you're chosen to be one of the promotable ones, I think that might work great. But if not, doesn't work.
Okay. So maybe that would be part of the last one there. What are some best ways to set yourself up for success looking to sign the new label? Um, Maybe making sure you're on the same page with everything, I guess, right? That'd be one thing.
I think. Um, good social presence is a big thing, I think. Um, having a professional uh, photo and I don't know, logo or homepage, just have
Sure.
a
Yeah.
strong presence. And even if you don't have big followers, um, I think it's important, even with small followers, make your social presence you treat it as your professional thing and
Sure.
you do posts and things as if you were a major artist, I think.
That's awesome, Katie. Yeah, I think I just read something the other day in like a psychological setting or just like self-wellness thing, just talking about like self-talk, like whether you're in music or other things too. Like, sort of the point, I guess, being like create the life that you want to lead and tell yourself. I think that would work so importantly for people, creatives like us, in the music and the arts fields of really go acting as if you're already a success that you want to see down the road. Yeah. Like say if you have 200 followers, act like you're a freaking rock star, and that's how you get to
Yeah,
two,
exactly. I
that's how
like
you
that
get to,
idea.
yeah, that's how you get to 2000. Act like you have 200, act like you have 2 million or 200,000 followers when you get 200.
Yeah, yeah,
And people
yeah,
see that like, whoa, and then you grow and grow. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not all just fluffy attitude, but it's just, I think confidence, a lot of that is, when you have confidence and you believe in what you're doing too. Yeah. And I think that was a key thing from our first talk again. Yeah. Which really makes sense that, you know, it's important when you work with a label to be, yeah, to be on that same page with the A&R team. And, ideally, yeah, you want to find a label that can help develop you as the artist too. Yeah. Here at ELECTROFANS, yeah, with Connect, that's what I'm always all about. Quid pro quo is, I mean, I really believe in that. People, something for something, people help each other. That's what the whole thing is, as you see, the Connect thing, like, you grow together and learn and collab. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, kind of jumping to the next point, which I think it sounds like is really heavily your bag at the moment with your Embyrblume new identity, right? So self-releasing. What are the most important things to keep in mind, do you think? And then how do you go about doing that? Do you put it on, for your case, I know it's Bandcamp, without a label doing it for you?
well, what's important? I think maybe just enjoying it is the most important thing, I think,
Sure.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the big thing about self-releasing for me is it's just fun. Like you for me, I feel like a kid again, like making things by myself, drawing pictures on the board. I don't it's just like making song. You made a song and you're satisfied with it and you make artwork for it and you decide on your releasing day. It's fun, just enjoyable. So and also I did my last album from Bandcamp, and it made more money than uh, s- uh, Spotify ever made for me. Like it's not like it's only listened to by like 500 times or so. It's not like, for example, streaming, you come by like million play or something like that, like, and you get like a little bit of money.
Yeah,
You might not even get money out of that, but people bought it, and it made me more money ever, uh, um, more money than streaming ever did.
that's ironic too, because Tobias Eldua on our panel earlier, who I think you might have some things in common with, yeah, in terms of like your esoteric aspects. I think you and Tobias, and just that you guys are doing. He's involved with film documentaries, and he's a singer and songwriter, and a lot of creative stuff. And it's interesting because he brought that point up. I think what he was trying to say was like, he's like, I don't understand why some artists don't just use Bandcamp. They try to go on Spotify. Yeah. Because I think too, I mean, I'm not a producer. I'm more of a promoter and music company via Electrofans, but I've worked with many producers, electronic music people and labels. And so I feel like I learn a lot kind of by observation. But yeah, it seems to me like Spotify, like you said, yeah, you have in order to make, say, a couple $1,000 or what is that, like a couple tens of thousands of yen, like you need to have like hundreds of thousands or even probably millions, yeah, of
Yeah,
streams. So yeah, Bandcamp, I checked your Bandcamp out recently, and what I like too is they show like the little thumbnails, the people that support you, and it's like Embyrblume is supported by, and they show like that little grid, of the faces of the people.
yeah,
I think that what it is sort of like, would you say is it sort of like like a Patreon kind of thing where people they feel good that they're liking the music, but they're supporting you as that artist, right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
think so because um I'm not good with numbers, so I'm not sure if my numbers are correct, but I think they said something about maybe 10,000 new songs uploaded every day,
Yeah, exactly. It's
and
saturated.
that's
Yeah,
like
out there. Hmm.
a 1 year total release from like 90s
Mm.
is now being released every day.
Yeah.
So your song don't count really. It's just like a sea of songs.
Yeah.
And lately also I realized that some songs becoming really good by AI. That
Hmm.
before when I hear the music made by AI, I will be like, oh, this is the AI. It was so easy to tell. But
Mm.
now it's getting hard. I'll be like, wow, this is a really good song. Wait a minute. Maybe
Wow.
it's AI, Like that's how good they are now.
Wow. Yeah, we
So
touched on some AI earlier, and that's going to be one of our future topics too, is maybe you can help us
yeah,
out, join on that too, to get your, yeah, music creation AI. That's interesting.
yeah, it's crazy. So you have to like tell your stories or you don't matter really because there's like 10,000 uploads every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're completely buried.
Yeah. It's like promos. I mean, I really may have to unsubscribe. I mean, probably because I just subscribe to different promos, but I just get flooded with, yeah. And it's like,
Oh yeah, me too. I
you
don't
know,
like open
yeah,
them anymore.
it's kind of like if I'm not really in a position like right now, I think I'm sort of taking a break from, I may take a little break. I think our last Soundscapes was maybe about a month ago, but it just takes a lot of work, and it's sort of like I may take a few months off. What I'd like to do is try to get a few, which I'm sure I could get some takers for, some cool DJ mixes. Maybe we can get an Ember Bloom mixed DJ mix too. Maybe sometime that'd be cool. But it's like if I'm not looking to, at the moment to put together a mix. Kind of like a, I think sometimes with labels too, isn't this the case that if their release schedule is full, that's one reason why artists don't hear back, or it takes them months and months. It's kind of like the timing. Like if they're looking, maybe and actively looking for, say they want to do like a tech house release in July, right? Or a trance release by the end of June. And if it just so happens, I've heard this about like people that do like professional musicians who like do like work for like commercials, TV music, and like movies, stuff, scripts, soundtracks, stuff. It's like when they're doing their thing, then you have to kind of like your worlds have to collide at that time. You know what I mean? It's sort of like sometimes me with Electrofans podcast. It's like when I'm between things, I'm kind of like, and I may miss some really good things, but it's kind of like when you have to be ready to jump when that's a big part of being a pro too. You just being able to seize an opportunity, when it's there, Um, yeah. So what might be some of the pros and cons? I think we kind of cover that, but you mentioned the pros. Yeah, the pleasure and the joy. You can feel like you're a kid and it's a lot of fun. But what are some of the cons or challenges do you think of doing the self-releasing route?
The cons, I think, if you um well, I don't know, I guess you have to do everything by yourself. That could be a con for somebody. Um it certainly isn't easy.
Hmm.
It's difficult for sure.
I know,
Like,
I know. Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's the con. And I'm doing basically, a mix of the self-release and um label release.
Okay.
As an Embyrblume, I released my first song from a label,
Oh,
which you heard from. I think you did, was ELECTROFANS CONNECT. You picked my song.
yeah. For the listening lounge. Yes, that was on an
Yeah, that I
actual.
couldn't make it.
Yeah, was that like for Spain? Were they from a Spanish label? Was it?
Yeah, it was a Spanish
Yeah,
label.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really cool that I feel like maybe took a chance on you because that was really a really raw, cutting edge, like rough edge experimental sound that a label would take a chance on you. That sounds like it was a cool label. Hmm.
Yeah, I think I think the song was quite experimental. I talked with many um, curators, and there was many of them were saying that's too experimental
Yeah.
for my playlist kind of thing.
Hmm.
But I think it was the right kind of sound for that label.
Exactly. Yep.
And
That's it.
also it was the right context because um, a few Japanese artists was on that same compilation.
Oh, okay.
And
Sort of
it
fit
I
together.
think that kind of work contributes to labels, colors, and then repertoire.
Yeah. When you like when
Made
I
that
assemble a
compilation album
podcast,
really stand
yeah,
out, I think.
you kind of look for like elements when you're doing each. Yeah. Like when I do Electrofans podcast, I have it just, it's a weird thing. I don't have a set thing, but I kind of do have a set thing. And when actually do the flow, it's like it has to kind of like flow together. So do you think maybe for that label, they thought, okay, well, we have these other Japanese producers here. Maybe they had similar, if not the sound, but some of the creativity spirit. So they thought, okay, we'll kind of do this together, huh?
I think um, there's two school of thoughts on that. I think one is to keep releasing very similar sounding,
Mm,
similar mastering sound. And by doing so, you're making a brand. And especially for DJs, it's easier for them to pick similar sound because then you get to like, it's easy to curate that song, like for example, I don't know, organic house. And
Yeah.
if you if your label um, exclusively release that organic type of sound, DJs buy, for example, 10 songs from that label and it works together, you know?
Mm.
However, the other train of thought is to have more repertoire because having all the same sound is kind of boring, you
Mm.
know, and you don't get to grow as a label. So I think a lot of big labels who are like really top labels, they I think some oftentimes they have their own color and they've already established themselves. They tend to take chance on some new sound sometime, I think. It's my opinion.
Sometimes, but maybe other labels or some labels they kind of feel like they're known for certain sounds, so they don't want to deviate from that too much. Like some of the maybe it's like some of the playlist people that you push, you're like, oh, that's Jura, sort of Jura. That's too cutting edge. But other people would be open. Yeah, again, I think it's finding that right fit. Yeah.
I think maybe medium tier labels
Hmm.
or lower tier labels, they're more strictly same sound, I think, because they're still developing their brand. But I think if you become like a top level, I don't know, for example, um, I don't know the name.
It's
um,
okay.
um, let's say, um,
Armada and
I
Juna
can't
Deep,
think of a label name.
Black Hole Recordings, thinking of big labels. Um,
Okay, like when you're listening to the new songs from big labels, sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, this is cool. It's not exactly the same as their typical release, but it fits, but it's still fresh. You know, they take chance on songs like that, in my opinion.
yeah, it's funny because I mean, I admit, like, I used to listen to, like, every week they come out with a new podcast, like Armada, like Armin van Buren's or Above and Beyond. But the times I've listened to some of the stuff on like Anjuna, kind of like, yeah, this kind of sounds like pretty samey sounding to me. So to me, it's sort of like, maybe, in my opinion, maybe the opposite of your opinion there. Maybe like to me, the bigger names are kind of same old junk. It's just like commodity to get the product out, and maybe the smaller middle labels have more diversity. Although to that point, to your point, yeah, I actually a lot of promos I get from the smaller to mid-size, yeah, their stuff does sound really, which to me, that's one of the reasons I just hit X. If it sounds like run of the mill, another boring melodic thing, okay, it's like to me a criteria. Like in some senses, I feel like maybe I am kind of an A&R person. To me, it's got to stand out, yeah, and have some unique individual voice and identity. And that reminds me, yeah, again of your track, sort of Jura. Well, I remember when I played it for the listening lounge audience, I think you saw some of the video of that, right? People are like, wow, that really resonated with people because I think it was something really different. And it's kind of like when you watch a TV show or a movie that's really kind of jarring, You're like, what did I just listen to? What did I just see? But it's unique because it creates like that feeling in you. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Are there any useful tips that you might be able to share of some things? So it sounds like you had some really nice success with Bandcamp. I mean, could you maybe share to anyone tuning in, maybe some tips for success on doing your own release on Bandcamp, maybe, or in general?
Well, I think, well, I've released from Bandcamp few times, but this was the first time I actually had a strategy,
Ah,
sort of sort of plans for the release. Before I was like, yay, release, just I
Yeah.
was like doing that, but like now I was like, okay, I'm gonna start um promoting it like a month in advance. And I was saying, um, like 1 month before the actual release date, I would start saying on my socials, "Hey, I'm working on albums, and this is what the album is about." And I couldn't show how I made it, but now I'm thinking um, I will be showing how I'm making too for the next ones, like
Hmm.
and
Behind the
just sort
scenes.
of,
Yeah.
well, not very, it's not like, 1,000 people are like, yeah, let's go. But like still few people are showing interest and kind of building expectation. Oh, what's this
Yep.
new
That's it. Yep.
album is about? Kind of curiosity
Hmm.
and wanting to see more kind of feeling. And also, I did the like a listening party thing. That was kind of
Yeah.
interesting for
Yeah.
me
Okay.
when I did it because it was um first time for me to completely listen to the whole album because I was happy with like I celebrated when each song was complete, but when I listened to the whole album as an album, I was like, wow, it actually works as an album.
That's great. Yeah. Was that
And
did you do that um like at a record store in Tokyo? Like or did you do that online or the listening preview
oh,
party?
it's on Bandcamp. It's a
Oh, they can do that. They can set that up for an artist to do that, huh?
yes, 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 and it's
Oh
you can
wow.
actually do so
Okay.
pretty easily, which
Oh,
I didn't know. I was so
wow.
nervous doing it, but like
So is it kind of like have you ever done like a YouTube video premiere where you kind of pre-upload it and you pick the time and then it says countdown 10, 9, 8, 7 and launch? Is it sort of like live, like preview? Is it sounds like that
yeah,
similar?
similar. I think I've never done a YouTube premiere, but in Bandcamp, you've already uploaded your music and the entire album. You just set the time,
Okay.
no, not the time, the dates,
Yeah. Goes
and
live.
you just go live
Okay.
and you start playing the whole album.
Okay. So
So
some
I
of
was
the
like
yeah.
promoting that, like it gave me another um, social um, promotion. I was like, hey, everybody, I'm doing a listening party.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
so like at that point, I've been already saying I have an album coming out for like a month,
Hmm.
and then I was like, yeah, it's out. And what I did was whoever gave me a response to those social posts, I sent them DMs saying,
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
for having an interest on my album. Here's the
Great.
link.
Yeah.
It would be great if you can support me. I just kept on DMing
I
and
remember getting one of those links too, and I did check it out. Yeah, and I'm gonna give you promote you. Have to create a post for that because yeah, I got one of those your DMs too. That was cool.
yeah, yeah, because you
Sure.
responded to my post. So
Yeah. Good ideas. Yeah.
I think that was good. But what I haven't done is like use the actual ads, like
Okay.
meta ads
Hmm.
for this kind of Bandcamp release, which I'm sure there's a way. I'm still like learning meta ads, so
Yeah. Their
but
interface is totally.
eventually I think
Yeah.
I will get
Their
it.
interface sucks ass too. It's so cumbersome to plow through.
Yeah.
And how to. I mean, we're gonna have maybe because it'll be so broad, but one whole meetup topic totally focused around social media, and it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, but And on Bandcamp, do they have a thing where you can like pay to get like sponsored, releases and like ads through Bandcamp itself? Do you know?
No, no, they don't. But they do
Yeah.
have an editorial, and every album you can send it to Bandcamp.
Oh, okay, you can pitch their
For,
team.
so yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Pitch for
Okay.
editorial,
Hmm.
which it didn't get picked.
Maybe you will later though. You never know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So having a set schedule, yeah, Future Phil really hammered that point in the earlier meeting too, having a fixed schedule and like, yeah, where you're building a cadence. To me, yeah, that's one of the secret things of social media, whether it's maybe for music or anything else, is kind of like showing momentum, kind of like whatever your job is, like you're building your resume too. Like I've read before that they say you want to do this, like show, progression, show that you started off here, you went here, and then then you did this, and showing that momentum. Yeah, are there maybe one or two other things that you think were good tips or hacks for building your audience? Yeah, of course, that's a huge. You did a listening party. Um, Maybe one or two other things that were helpful when you did your self-release to get you good success?
Okay, what's the question? Sorry.
Yeah. Did you have like maybe one, maybe even like one other tip that you think maybe was helpful to get you some like, I don't know if you call them hacks, but people like the word hack, like tips or hacks that you thought like helped get you some more success by doing that? Or
Mm,
if not, you kind of covered it already too. That's okay.
yeah, I guess so.
Sure, yeah, no problem. Okay, so yeah, sort of moving on then. So, uh, options for producers when releasing. So a mix of label and self-release. Um, are there any particular things you think you might want to watch out for, keep in mind, or again, maybe tips and tricks? And like I think I said too, the earlier group, yeah, I think pretty much everyone, I think yourself as well, I think has done, and I think we'll continue to do so too, done a mix of some releases on a label. Some of them are self-release. And maybe if you think something's really personal too, you don't want to. I guess I would guess maybe for your music too, Katie, like you felt like it was a very, because I know from what you said, it was maybe sharing some of your personal past experiences and what you went through and the strength and perseverance from your past, childhood, things, different things. And so maybe if you think something is very personal, I could see, to me, maybe you just want to do it in a self-release route. Maybe other things you want to get a bigger audience, or maybe you want to do a dancey, fun. Maybe you'd want to go with like the biggest EDM thing you could find, right? So yeah, any thoughts on the mix and match kind of idea?
Well, I don't know if it's a tip or hack, but I'm just doing mix of those label and self-release because I think it's a completely two different experience, and it has its own pros and cons.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's both beneficial for my growth, and so I'm gonna keep mixing them up. I think next one is I think it's coming out from a Japanese label, and it's
Oh
so
wow.
different from self-release. My self-release, I'm happy with my own mastering, but for
Hmm.
label, my own mastering is kind of probably not good enough, like because
Hmm.
labels want very, very made up sort of like product kind of mastering, I think, in my opinion.
Finished thing that's ready to go right out of the box, huh? Right.
Well,
Uh,
something like that, like um um what's the word for it? I'm not sure. Like when you self-release, your mastering, I think, I mean, you could have a very like perfectly executed mastering for your self-release. But for me, perfectly um dumb mastering kind of sounds boring sometimes.
Huh.
Like um for example, I think Erica Badu, she says the
Um,
same thing, she's like when mastering people do the mastering, it kills her song. That's what she
huh.
says. Like I feel kind of the same thing. I don't necessarily feel that it killed it. I think it's tuned to more generic um perfect sound instead of my own sound. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
So
kind
like
of, yeah. Sometimes I get to me when I create the Electrofans mixes too, it's have you ever heard of King Crimson, the rock band? They're old guys
yes,
from the
yes.
60s, you know, those guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Robert Fripp, I mean, he's written, I think, a lot about the creative process. And I remember reading that Robert Fripp, the guitar player from King Crimson, wrote like years ago, like again, I think there's certain things that we as artists and creatives have in common. It's actually like a torturous process, like the creative thing, because it's like our baby. Like we're so that's what Phil or somebody earlier said too. It's like I feel like that for me. I haven't produced my own tracks yet. Maybe I will later, but for me, my product is those podcasts where it's a unique thing. It's other people's tracks, but the way I create them together and doing the mixing and the transitions. Um, Jamie Fuji, I think you know her too, from Fukuoka, DJ Jamie. I
Yes, I
think I listened again to her, one of her mixes the other day, and it was wow, it was so well done. And so there's aspects to that, the art of the mix or production where the elements, you put a track together or you do a mix because it sounds very rough. Otherwise, if you just, that's also a sign, I think, of an amateur versus pro DJ. If you just take two tracks and boom, and they're really crappily put together, it's important to create that smooth flow. I think whether you're producing a track or a mix, but what I'm going with this is just like I feel like, yeah, when you're so like Robert Fripp was saying, when you're so close to it, it can be actually painful. It's kind of like, I mean, I'm not a woman, I've never had a baby. When you push that baby out, it's that baby's out and it's creative to the world, and then you look at the beauty of that. Maybe it's like strange, the analogy. Maybe I forgot why I even started bringing that up. But like
yeah. Yeah, I
when you're
think so.
when,
That's
when you're really
definitely
close
a
to
baby,
something,
I think.
you know, yeah. And you're right. They're just self-release or a label. They're just different. Yeah, I can see that, and that's what I kind of figured that it's not maybe necessarily that one's better than the other. Maybe they're different, and maybe if you just want more money or exposure, yeah, a label can be really powerful or different reasons. I guess what might be something that would make you want to go with a label versus doing a self-release, maybe? Say for one of your future works, what would you be some factors in making you want to go with a label versus doing another self-release?
Well, I am gonna be working with this new label. Um,
Yeah, the Japanese label.
no, no,
Oh, sorry.
it's like one or maybe few releases after that, but like,
Okay.
um, he's kind of messaged me and he's his label is not like a big label, but he's been doing it's American label actually. He's been doing label for like 15 years, work with very, very famous people.
Hmm.
Um, and he's doing it very slowly at the moment, but really each release, I think more, I don't know, meticulously, kind of tending to each release. And
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
he's trying to work with each artist and and trying to, I think, make each release shine. And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to working with this new label.
Yeah.
And
Sounds really promising. Yeah.
also, I think this label may let me explore my
Hmm.
creativity, and that's one thing. And for other labels that I'm hoping to release with, I think they're looking for more perfectly good song. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Maybe from
maybe
a commercial
Like
standpoint. Yeah.
they sound the same, but still each song sounds perfect, like it sounds great. And I would like to at least um be able to make that kind of song that sounds perfectly great. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
on the other hand, I would like to explore more creative freedom with this other label. But I think both is gonna benefit me because um, working with the label, self-release too, but like especially with working with label, um, I think you are producing your highest quality output because you're working with somebody else with,
Yeah.
you know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
that point. That's a very exactly because I also feel like um when I create Electrofans mixes, I feel like I maybe I try to approach it with a little bit different of a listening ear than just my own little as Kevin out there as oh I like this stuff as my faves. A friend of mine told me, he gave me some feedback maybe a year or two ago. Well, this is just Kev's faves. I'm like, that's a good point. To me, that's not again professional as being objective and thinking again from, yeah, I don't want that's kind of maybe what Electrofans used to be, but now it's a variety of things. Some are things that people paid me to put up there, and it's kind of like, well, I'm trying. Certainly, I want to make money. Just like there's nothing wrong with trying to make money. I don't make much money on this either. I don't mind sharing, and as few artists and music out there do too. I'd like to make the most I could out of it, but so it's a combination of things. Some passion stuff that I really like to support, maybe like you or some of the other people on the thing, but maybe if some big EDM promoter pays me to put an event up there, sure, of course I'm going to put it up there. So when I create the mixes, I feel like I try to listen with a different ear. And I think I just remembered why, sorry if I went off on that tangent about being really close to the mix. I think where I broke off from the thread was when you were talking about, yeah, like the mix. So I'm a little curious. So you think when the mastering, if it's too perfect, then you think you don't like it. Is that you were talking about like the mastering of and labels I could see labels to me, they want like a ready to roll probably sound where it's already finished. It doesn't need any other mixing or processing, right?
Well, I think um, good mixing, good mastering is, I mean, it sounds good for sure. But sometimes I feel like, oh, it's not the way I might want to do it. For example, this new release that's coming out from Japanese label, I think I've done in the beginning, not so bass heavy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
and it's the way I want it. But I think the label wanted more like more, I don't know, bass heavy sound.
Hmm.
So I had to do couple redo
Okay.
to make it work for them. And
Yeah.
which
Okay.
it still sounds good, and but it's just not the way I intended for it to be. Like
Hmm.
it sounds no, it's still very it's a subtle difference. Like it's not a big difference. So that I'm pretty okay with it. Like it sounds cool either way, but it's just I don't know. A lot of label want certain sounds. I feel like I don't like the idea of fitting into it. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do.
Cookie cutter. Yeah. Yeah.
Cookie cutter, yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds good. I'm not like denying that, like
Hmm.
I like that perfect sounds too. I definitely do. But
Yeah. Probably
sometimes
when I do
doing
some of
my
the,
own sound is good too, like
yeah. So the track for you, your case, the track took on a different, maybe artistic direction by adding more of the bass, and you weren't really going for, yeah. I think with mixing, from a mixing standpoint, everyone, it's not a universal thing either. Like when we've done a couple listening lounge sessions, I probably usually have agreed with like what a lot of the panelists said about when we did some listening lounge sessions, but sometimes it's a matter of taste. Like maybe some people hate bass, like you're saying, some people may love bass, and some people may be like, ah, in between. Um, there's a lot of taste and subjectivity, yeah. Um,
yeah, well, it's not like I don't like bass and
mhm.
but there's a song that I want it to be like that, and there's songs
Yeah,
that I want it to be not like that,
yeah. That particular
No, I
track,
don't
you
want
didn't
to like
see it
make
with
the
heavy
same
bass,
kind of
right?
spit every time.
Yeah, yeah. I think I see. If you did more like a techno, where you expect techno to be like boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe it was
exactly. Yeah.
different. Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I look forward to checking out your upcoming stuff, Katie. Yeah, that's going to be great. So, what do you have your next project coming up next, do you think? Or do you have a couple things going on at once?
Well, where do I have?
Your next project, yeah. What's next?
Okay, well, what I'm working on right now, I think, is a lot slower than the like
Hmm,
regular dance music. Like I'm doing couple songs at 100, 110, um, something that's like
BPM, yeah.
yeah, BPM wise, and it's like somewhere between synth pop and dance pop. I'm trying to do some good vocals for it.
Oh. Are you gonna do some singing?
Yeah,
Find
I
some
can't
other.
sing for sure, but like I'm gonna try to make it work.
Okay. Yeah, you did the vocal your own vocals on the that track, like sort of Jura too. Yeah, that got a lot of interesting feedback from our panel when I played that for some of the guys too. Like, whoa, they
I
were really
bet.
like, whoa. That really threw a lot of people. It's like when you're, hello, stupid humans, or you're kind of like chastising humans for destroying the planet. We all loved it. I think we all liked it though. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, well, it's like with so much, AI music and stuff coming out,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely memorable, right? Like
It's
you
you,
remember
your
my
own
song.
spoken voice. That's why I think, like as we said, there's definitely a case for. I think there's a case now for. Or sorry, was that the was that even the first session? Man, it's been a busy day today. That a case for with all the AI. Maybe that was in the first session. I guess it might have been. Must have been more of a demand now for human. Yeah, it was in the first session. Organic created content. Like I was telling the people in the first meeting. I put on the footer of the Electrofans website throughout the entire website, electrofans.com, created with love by humans, not bots or AI. In San Francisco, Osaka,
That's good. That's
Tokyo,
good. Yeah.
London, Paris. Yeah.
Created by human. That's gonna be like a
Yeah.
pretty stamp on it.
Hello, humans. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So your next track will be like, I'd be curious. Look forward to hearing it. Yeah. Is it sort of like a softer, more slower tempo? More,
Yes.
okay.
No, not this, not, it's not softer, but
Oh, sorry. Okay.
it's kind of, it's still like, fall to the floor kind of feel to it, but what I'm trying to be on my own, and not trying to do certain kind of genre, just trying to
Yeah.
make my own music. That's my big
Sure.
thing right now. Like,
Sure.
I'm not making techno, I'm not making house, I'm not taking no making organic house, I'm just making my sound.
Okay. And so as far as a label, they kind of have to support the Embyrblume sound or bust, right? I wouldn't blame
Yeah,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why
It
I'm
works
so
out
looking
better. Yeah, if you're on the
to
same
the
page.
work
Yeah.
labels who are willing to work with me, like,
Hmm.
but that's so hard to come by. Like,
Yeah, that kind of came
you
up
buy
earlier too. I know.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really difficult, I think, but once I think you find a good label you can work with, I think, label, you can, you can grow a lot with a label, I think.
Yeah, again, I think it's like, you know, any relationship, whether personal or business, it's like it's important to get that clickingness and that match. And then when you do, it makes it that much more special. And yeah, it can be better than a super in any kind of relationship, superficial thing down the road. I mean, yeah, like I say, for Electrofans, I could take some money for some music that's maybe not my necessarily most favorite, but it's still going to be music or even dance music oriented. But you know, um, I'm sure even for labels, maybe they feel like A&R, maybe they don't always love all the music they sign, but they know it can make them money. But that maybe can let them have the space to where they could support an artist who they think is more esoteric or more avant-garde or underground. I know a lot of the big names too are wanting to get a hold of more underground, authentic, legitimate stuff too. I know that was a word you used back in the day too, the authentic thing, and that comes across through your music, and I think you personally, and yeah, again, I think Bandcamp. I think people they feel good about that they're kind of like contributing to your artistic journey too, and you as a person. That's why I think they do that when they put the faces, on that grid. Here's who support Ember Bloom. They show all the people that bought your album, your music. Yeah, I need to explore more Bandcamp. Are there other ways? Maybe we can kind of wrap up soon here, but like as far as going your own route, I mean, I kind of figured Bandcamp would be the main way. I mean, can you think of other ways if you were to do an indie release, maybe besides Bandcamp? Any other ways that you could think of doing that or that you know
Well,
of?
a couple songs from that album I've just released on the streaming too.
Okay,
And so it's like a mix of Bandcamp and streaming.
okay. That's kind of what Tobias mentioned earlier to get build a traction on Bandcamp and then move to streaming. That's funny. He said that exact kind of thing
Really?
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe you'll meet him in one of our meetings. I felt like you guys have some similar just approaches, outlooks on things. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Also, I'm thinking about making cassette tapes.
Okay. I was gonna say your own like pressing like vinyl or maybe cassette. Are tapes making cassette like a little bit of a comeback, do you think?
It's been making a comeback for years,
Oh,
and I
huh.
think
Wow.
it's getting the sense I'm getting is it's getting more and more. The movement is kind of growing a little bit
Huh. Really?
because, like, when I first noticed the cassette tapes were a thing, I didn't see so many stores, but now
Hmm.
I see many. Okay, not
Really?
so many, but just a few, but still, like, people making tapes, people making cassette tape players, and new
Hmm.
stores with cassette tapes, new artists releasing only cassette tapes, you know.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
There's a
I didn't realize.
new cassette tape store in a big um um um
Tower Records. No.
no, not Tower Echo for sure, it's like a shopping district. They have like new cassette tape store in a big
Oh, really?
shopping district in
Where they
Shibuya.
only
Yeah.
they only sell cassette tape music. Wow.
Yeah,
Man, I wonder if
and
it's
they
bigger in
sell also
Japan.
like that.
Huh.
Vintage Walkmans.
Oh, I could see that. I mean, I don't know if you see this too, but on, Instagram and Facebook, they show you a lot of stuff like you may like, they've been serving me a lot of that kind of content. Yeah, like they showed, for example, like the founder of Sony. You might have seen the same thing that I'm talking about. I forget his name, but this guy, head guy from Sony, like they created the creator of the Walkman. I think they said that, the story, like they created it and they showed a photo of him on an airplane. The old one, the first one was like really big, and
Yeah.
he was an opera fan, so he could listen to opera on his flights. I mean, you may have seen that
Wow.
story. Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if cassettes are bigger in Japan than other. I don't know if they're big as here. Vinyl is big, but I didn't
I
realize
know
it.
for like one French company is starting to make cassette tape player.
Wow.
Yep, the
Wow,
video
this is
is
news to me. Wow, this is learning.
really,
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I mean,
it's
because
like
wow.
about this big. It's kind of boxy, metallic
Oh, of
thing.
course yeah, I mean, I mean, I was a kid that we had tapes. Yeah, I mean, back in the day. So,
Yeah,
but
I
to
did too.
me, the downside is that they wear out. It's like eight tracks. They degrade quickly.
Yeah, that's not only the downside. A lot of people don't even have the cassette tape players.
Yeah. It's kind of like CDs, like a lot of laptops, like MacBooks, they don't even come, you can't use a CD in a Mac, right? A new Mac.
Yeah,
A lot of new laptops, you
I don't have a
how do
CD
you what do you
player.
do with a CD? Do you think
Yeah.
you think cassettes actually bigger than CDs now, huh? CDs seem like they're kind of dying out. No, they have.
Yeah, I think so. Cassette tape is more of like interesting gadget, like people like gadgets. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the
It's
novelty
like, oh,
aspect.
take this thing, put it in,
Uh,
and you press the big play button, you just start rolling, and it makes sounds. And for like digital age people, it's like, whoa, this is interesting. It's not even connected to Wi-Fi, you know?
Do you ever see those? I think they're called DAT. Even back in the day, they were really small. They were maybe like 2 or 3 inches. DAT, the digital audio. I forget the 80s maybe. I forget what you could do with it. Maybe just more computer storage than audio. But I think you could maybe do high fidelity digital like music.
Is it
Like,
just like squared things
yeah,
like
it's like
this
a really small cassette thing.
and
DAT.
you
It's
have
like,
like a CD looking thing inside?
I'm not sure. Yeah. But
I remember something like that, but
DAT. Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't
sure
remember
about
if it's called DAT or
Yeah, and I still have my
I
old
remember it.
Napster MP3 player from the early 2000s. That thing is the problem is it slurps the battery. Battery dies in like an hour, but like
Oh.
it's only like one AAA battery, whatever it is, or double A. But like I like the convenience of the portability. Yeah, you don't need. One of my things is like even using a phone, I noticed I looked at Jamie Fuji's set the other day. She had like a corded headphone. I mean, because a lot of the modern phones you have to you it's you can't really use a cord, and that's really like or it's old school. It's
Yeah.
I think old school is making a comeback and popular now and stuff like that. Yeah, cassettes, I guess. And oh, I know. Thing I was gonna ask you. Do you think among DJs are DJs actually out at clubs, are they actually playing stuff in cassette and in the cassette player? Do you think?
Oh, they're not playing cassettes for
I was gonna
sure.
say that would be if DJs are doing it. You know what I mean? It's like vinyl. It's from DJs.
But I
Mm.
did see one post on social. This person, I think this is in Japan, one person who was doing a cassette tape DJing set
Wow.
at I think it was like small
Wow.
DJ bar or something. It was kind of a special thing.
Yeah. I bet his crowd was really like, whoa, what is this person doing? Yeah. Like you said, the novelty thing. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I guess maybe we can kind of wrap up here. Do you have any maybe sort of to conclude like some again, I think the conclusion is it just depends on the artist or maybe on the particular release of the artist. Like if they kind of just personal preference maybe, or the relationship you can find with one label. If you get a great relationship, maybe you'd want to go with a label. Any last thoughts, I guess, on in closing for our topic, label versus self-release, or anything you want to finish with, conclude with?
Well, I guess in conclusion, I think it's good to mix and match,
Okay.
and see what can make you grow.
Okay. Learning process, right?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
takes time.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. Well, Katie, Embyrblume, thanks so much again for joining us today. I learned a lot of stuff, and I know our viewers and listeners are gonna, we covered quite a bit in our first one. We had like in total 9 folks, including myself, but this was great just getting more of a one-on-one thing from you because I know you've been doing this for a while. You've been a DJ producer, and you've sort of have your own label, and you've done a mix of like indie releases and labels. So yeah, everyone, hopefully, you find this useful, entertaining, and yeah, well, that's a wrap. Again, this was ELECTROFANS Connect, label versus self-release meetup. Yeah, everybody check us out soon in the next month, or maybe month after that, we'll have another one. So yeah, find out more about us at electrofans.com/connect. And just to recap again what Connect is basically combination, as you see our new sign there, learn, collab, grow, is a combination of a community, a resource center where people can literally meet each other. We're going to be talking more about this real soon too. On Friday, this is coming out. Some of our VIP members, Connect members, JP Launcheri and Lorna James, collabed with Jan Johnston, the First Lady of Trance, whose work, who's one of the most, I think a lot of people think too, one of the most famous and talented singers in dance music history. She's worked with BT, Tiesto. They have an awesome, we're going to be giving it promos too. Coming out, the release is coming out on Friday. And JP and Lorna met in person at Amsterdam Dance Event last fall because of they met on a Electrofans Connect, one of our Zoom meetups. So that's kind of what we're about here at Connect. We're about community and music professionals, music creators, DJs, label heads, as a resource for information and to meet people and share feedback and help each other out. So, yeah, once again, Katie, thanks a lot. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, take care.
Thanksgiving.